What's up, guys? This is Garrett.
And this is Johnny.
From Fantasy News and Brews. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, so what we are, we're a fantasy news channel that mainly covers NBA and NFL as well. This is our first real video on our channel, and so we appreciate all the support that we can get. So tune in every week. We'll have something new, something exciting, great content for you going forward.
Yeah, we plan on doing one video a week. It's going to be a long one, but we're going to have timestamps. We're going to have the players' photos, so you can kind of skim through. And we're for the NBA season, we actually kind of partnered with Alex Barutha over at Rotowire.
Yeah.
And he's featured in this video. He's going to be featured for the NBA season pretty much, unless something arises.
Yeah, he's a super talented guy, very knowledgeable, knows his stuff. So we're going to try to give you the best content that we can to help you guys win your season.
Yep, and as we always say in all of our videos, reach out to us on Twitter. We will answer back any questions you have, and we do it in detail. We'll have a conversation with you. We've already done it with numerous people. I mean, I can't even count how many people now that we're just like helping on a weekly basis that we're just talking to.
People would just send us their lineup and be like, "Hey, who can I get for this?" Blah blah blah. And like, yeah, we're here for you guys.
We do our best. So thanks for tuning into this episode. We'll have Alex introduce himself again, and let's hop right in. Yeah,
let's do it.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. What's up, guys? This is Garrett from Fantasy News and Brews.
How's it going? This is Johnny.
And we're here, we're here with Alex. He's a special guest and a good friend, and we're stoked to have him. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Alex Barutha from Rotowire, NBA assistant editor there. So, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. We've actually done some other work with Alex, and he really knows his stuff, so it makes us look good when he's with us. So we appreciate you coming. So today we're going to, as I kind of said already a little bit, we're going to talk about the top 25 players. We're just going to give like a simple little analysis for each of them. And at the end of that analysis, I figured we could kind of talk about, do you think they're going to go up? Do you think they're going to go down? Where are they going to go? You guys want to hop right in?
Let's do it.
Sweet.
Let's start right at the top with our number one guy, the big man from the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic. He's he's a stud, averaging about a triple-double a game, just a fantasy menace. And, if he keeps this up, and I think if Jamal Murray continues to struggle with his shot, I think he could stay at that number one spot. Definitely a candidate for the MVP race.
I mean, when you're a big man putting up 35 minutes per game, 24 minutes per game, 11 rebounds and 10 assists, you're not playing bad. You're playing pretty good basketball. And I don't see, besides injury, a reason why he can't keep all of that up. I mean, he looks like the best point guard on the team. He's clearly the best center on the team. He's shooting 56% field goals. He's killing it. I mean, in pretty much every regard. He's shooting 36 or 37% from three, which – not bad for, a 7-footer. Any thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, Jokic is awesome. That was a good call saying he could win MVP. I think he's at least, last time I checked, he was like 12-1 to win MVP via like the DraftKings Sportsbook. And I think that's a pretty solid bet to make. The Nuggets aren't playing as well as they might need to. I think they would probably need to avoid that play-in game for Jokic to win MVP, but I think the main thing is that the shortened off season didn't really let him get out of shape, which has always been an issue for Jokic as he shows up, not really in shape. He goes back to Serbia and who knows what he does. And he comes back and he's heavier than he should be, but he looks skinny right off the bat. And I think, with Michael Porter Jr. out recently and Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee moving on to different teams, they just need Jokic to basically do everything on offense, especially because Jamal Murray is still a really inconsistent player.
I agree.
He's playing 35 minutes a game this year, whereas last year he's only playing 32, and those extra minutes definitely help.
So let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Some ways that he could move down is and I actually think Jamal Murray will start playing better. But if he's, catches fire like he did in the bubble, I could see Jokic kind of reverting back to center a little bit more and maybe losing some of those minutes. Do I think that's going to happen? I think that Jamal Murray will pick it up, but I can't see Jokic really taking like a backseat. I really do think he's going to keep it up, but I think we should mention for each guy like how they could, you know, regress a little bit.
Right. I think the main thing that I'm looking at, that I see that might be unsustainable. I mean, I think his passing for the most part is pretty sustainable. His usage rate's insanely high, but right now he's 1.9 steals per game.
I saw that.
Yeah, and per 36, that comes out to 2. And for his career, he's never been above 1.6 at any other point for his career per 36. So, a lot of times when we talk about guys who, are going to either do better or do worse, steals and blocks take into account a lot because in points leagues, that's usually either worth 2 or 3 points. In a standard points league, it's 3. So if you're losing half a block a game, that's already 1.5 fantasy points a game that you're losing off of a guy, not counting in any sort of normal regression. So that's the main thing I would point out.
I like it. So I think we can agree, Jokic, definitely want him on your team. Let's move on to number 2, Luka Doncic. Yeah, Alex, why don't you start us off on this one?
Yeah, Doncic. They recently got Porzingis back. He started off the year. The funny thing is, he actually started off the year slow, because this was a guy who I actually heard that he thought the season was going to start in January and possibly February, and then it kind of snuck up on him, so he wasn't quite ready. But yeah, Doncic is incredible, man. Leading favorite right now for MVP. Not really putting up any numbers that I see as unsustainable. And you have to keep in mind that he's so young still. I think I'm looking right now. He's about to turn 22 in a couple months. Taking 21 shots a game, the efficiency is really sustainable. The main thing for me is I actually think he has room to go up. I think he has room to be the number 1 guy in fantasy, just in a points league, because right now he's only shooting 26% from 3. Last season he shot 32, and his rookie season he shot 33. And since he's taking 7 a game, if he starts making basically another 1 a game, you're getting 3 more fantasy points out of him. And I don't really see his rebounds or assists going down at all. He's putting up, his block numbers might be a little unsustainable, but he's only getting you 1 a game. So that's not really going to come crashing down.
I agree. He was god awful from the 3-point percentage. He was one of the top worst. I think it was per 30 shots or something like that in the first couple weeks of the season, and he's definitely gotten a little bit more confident with his shot. It started dropping a little bit more. I will add, and you did briefly touch on it, Porzingis coming back, I think that actually could drop his rebounds a little bit. Just another big man that's playing big minutes who's a unicorn, 7 foot, 7'1", coming back in. I think that can always hurt the rebounds. But I mean, it might not. I don't think that's any cause for concern. Like you said, I agree. I think he could. I think he's only going up from here. I think he's going to have a great year.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting up pretty similar numbers as he was last year. His points per game is down a bit, but like you said, he's developing young players. He's only 21 years old, and the sky's the limit for this guy. You can definitely see him improving in all aspects of his game. So I'd say he goes up. He could definitely do a little better, but for Luka's standards, I think absolute great.
I think MVP
fantasy asset.
Yeah, I think first place in MVP voting is pretty good for Luka's standards. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, over the past 5 games, he's averaging 31 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, and 3 combined steals and blocks. So he's doing all right recently.
Yeah. Not bad at all. All right, let's move on. Bradley Beal, my guy. Been high on him since the beginning of the season. Absolutely crushing it. I think, Johnny, almost every video we've made, we've had to touch on Bradley Beal, whether it be, he's only at 60 points during halftime during one of our videos that we had to throw him in. I mean, the guy is just killing it. 36 minutes a game, 35 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.4 steal, only about 3 turnovers per game, which is actually relatively low compared to Luka's. I think Luka was at 4. something like that. Yeah, Luka's at 4.3. So he's not bad. I mean, 38% from the three, almost 50% field goal percentage. I mean, can he go? Can he go down? I mean, I know a lot of these big games have been without Westbrook, but a lot of the big games have been with Westbrook. Uh, I love Bradley Beal. I think he's amazing, and I know right now there are some rumors that the Heat are trying to grab him. Maybe that would hurt him. I think that would actually if he does go to the Heat, just because there's more mouths to feed there. But as long as he stays in Washington, I think he can stay where he is. I think he can stay right at that 3 spot.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, 35 points a game. He's leading the NBA right now. Yeah, I mean, him and Westbrook, there was obviously some concern when Westbrook went there that Beal's numbers would go down, but Westbrook and Beal really are the only sources of offense on that team. Like, Bertans is going to shoot his threes, but he's not really, he's not taking a ton of shots for you. And especially now that Thomas Bryant is out, Thomas Bryant would launch up some shots, but now that's replaced with Robin Lopez and Mo Wagner. Neither of those guys are really going to do that much. So, yeah, I think this is pretty sustainable for Bradley Beal. Again, you look at his percentages and they're a little inflated, but not so inflated that, you think that it's going to result in him really averaging fewer than 30 points a game this season.
Yeah. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, we saw with it was OKC how Westbrook's presence actually helped Paul George's numbers. He's a decent ball distributor. He'll probably be a little reliant on the scoring, but those games where he's out, especially on those back-to-backs, Bradley Beal's gonna have to do it all. And even if Westbrook is there, I don't think that hurts him. I thought in the beginning of the season, I wasn't too high on him because I thought that Westbrook would hurt Beal's production, but boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. In our league that we're in, Bradley Beal, I got him in the 3rd round, which I thought was insane. And Johnny, you kind of you made fun of me a little bit for picking him over Sabonis. You were stoked I did that because that led up to you getting Sabonis. And
Yeah,
I remember you gave me a little shit.
That.
You're like, Westbrook's there now, right? What are you doing? So I'm glad that worked out. Let's move on. Number 4, Cat. What do you think, Johnny? Tell me about him.
Cat, just a guy who does not play a lot of games each and every year. He's very injury prone, something going on. But when he is
Still
in,
number 4.
Yeah, on a fantasy points per game basis, he top 5 player for sure. I can't predict whether he's going to miss more. I mean, he's obviously going to miss more, but to that extent, I don't know how many games he will miss. But if he can stay healthy, he's got a decent group of guys around him. The Minnesota Timberwolves allow tons of points each and every game, and he's going to have to do a lot on offense. So I like him here. I think maybe he dips down a little bit just because the uncertainty of the amount of games he's going to play. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, the main concern right now is that he has coronavirus, so he's not going to be playing for like 2 weeks probably. And I would assume after that, you never know how this is going to work because some guys are completely asymptomatic; they're not really affected by it at all, and then their 2-week quarantine is over and they can just come back, and then they play 35 minutes a game again, and they'll probably give him time to recover from that wrist injury that was bothering him. He had sprained it or maybe broke it a little bit. I can't quite remember, but he was out for a while and kind of surprisingly came back. Was wearing a brace on it, so by the time he is back, I think he will be at least healed from the wrist injury. But I'm someone who loves. I mean, I love Karl Anthony-Towns. He's one of the best offensive centers in the NBA, just in terms of efficiency. He's not going to really get you a ton of steals and blocks or anything like that, but he's like a walking 25 and 10.
So this is actually one of the guys that was on my do not draft list. Just based on his ADP and who he is when it comes to injury. I knew he had a really rough off season with his family and just, prayers up for that, but it was just sad. And I thought that maybe that would distract him a little bit. And the injury has already happened. He's still averaging like 33 minutes per game, 22 points per game, almost 13 rebounds, 4 assists. I think he has room to improve with his 3-point percentage. He's sitting at 37.5. I think he can get that up to 40. He's pretty good at threes. One thing that I think is going to drop down is his free throw percentage. He's shooting 96% right now. When he comes back, I don't think that's sustainable, but you never know. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's one guy that I think will drop, just personally.
Yeah, I mean, his free throw percentage usually hovers around that 80 to 85% range. So I agree with you that that will drop. And his blocks per game, I think he's at almost 3 blocks per game right now, where he usually averages about 1.5. So it's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, next up is James Harden. Alex, what do you think?
So I watched that Brooklyn game, Brooklyn versus the Magic, and that's not exactly a huge fight for Harden and Durant for them to win that game. Although it came down to the wire for the most part, but Harden, looked good in his debut with the Nets. Was really passing well, like passing as good as I had ever seen him. Wasn't being too selfish on offense. They had him out there with the second unit sometimes, so he could still run his ISOs essentially. So they still got him his ISO possessions, and when Durant was in there, he was passing really well. So I'm not really that concerned about Harden right now. He's at 50 fantasy points a game. Any drop below 45 fantasy points a game would be extremely shocking to me. I think he's like, that's his absolute floor as a player. He's just too good to have less than that. So anywhere between 45 and 55 fantasy points, I think, is where we can expect Harden to be. And I'm not too worried about him sharing the court with Kyrie and Durant for the most part in terms of like a insane hit to his fantasy value.
Yeah, I agree. So we actually on our Twitter mentioned he might be a good person to trade. And his debut really didn't change my mind. I think that Harden has a really big name. He's never shared the floor with two other people like this since he's been in his prime. I almost want to take the opposite approach as you. I think he will drop down to about 45 to 47. I think he will take a little bit of a statistical hit. Nothing too crazy. He's going to finish top 10. I would put money on that. I mean, I think he's going to finish right around 10, though. I do think Kyrie and KD on the floor is going to he's just going to take a hit a little bit. I mean, let's be real. This game that he just played, he played 39 minutes. That's not going to happen every game. He was hyped to be on a new team. He was pumped. He was running around, jumping before pregame, screaming. You could see the smiles. It was great to see with Harden, but I don't see it continuing. He's not going to play 39 minutes. He's not going to be getting you 70 fantasy points per game. Kyrie's going to come in. Kyrie's going to dribble. Harden's going to dribble. KD's going to dribble. I think he's going to regress.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of fantasy points to go around on that team. And with Kyrie coming, I don't know when he'll come back, but when he does, I think all three will definitely take a hit.
I think it's tonight.
I'm pretty sure all three of them are going to play tomorrow against the Bucks.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be a huge game, actually.
Yeah.
Bucks versus New Look Nets, that'll be huge.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. So in our league, we play in a points league where you pick one game per week to play a player. How the heck do you manage that with KD, Kyrie, and Harden? Because here's the thing. In the week, they're all going to eat. But you never know who's going to thrive in what game. And that's so tough to just pick because, one game KD is going to go out for 70. The next game he's going to get 25. And Kyrie's going to get 70. And so it's just like it's a murky situation. It really is.
I think, you definitely don't want all three on your fantasy team. If you have all three on your fantasy team, I think you should just try to get rid of one.
I wouldn't even want two of them. I would rather. I mean, if I have one, that's fine. But I really wouldn't even want two of them. Yeah,
that would be tough.
Yeah. Anything to add, Johnny, or let's move on?
Let's move on. I think we have Giannis Antetokounmpo next up. Currently sitting at number 6. And I was surprised that there wasn't as much hype around his name as there was last year. I think he went like 4 or 5 in our league. where I think every year he should be either number 1 or 2. And I mean, right now he's sitting at 6, but I think he can definitely go up from there. What do you guys think?
I think he's for sure going to hop Harden eventually. Just again, due to what we just said about Harden, I
And
think
Cat, I
Giannis.
think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean Giannis is so he is playing the least minutes per game out of all of the guys we've talked about so far, and he's still sixth. I mean, he's only averaging 31 minutes per game compared to Harden's 36 on Houston and 39 in his one game with Brooklyn. I mean, Cat was even playing when he does play, he's averaging like what 33. So Giannis isn't playing the minutes as these other guys, and I mean, if we're being real, he doesn't really need to just because of the team that he's on.
Mm-hmm.
How great he is. I mean, they blow out teams, so they don't really need him. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Steph Curry like 3 years ago when KD was there. It was like, and the reason that he just got his first 60-point game is because they were beating everyone so bad he didn't even need to play in the fourth. And it's a little bit of that situation here, not to that extent, but a little bit of that situation here with Giannis, and that's kind of why he's sitting at 6 in my opinion, and why he's not top 3 or top 4.
Yeah, the Bucks are, last couple seasons, they are always in blowout wins. And again, Giannis rarely plays over 35 minutes. Usually, like at Rotowire, when we do projections, we have him at 33 a game because there's just no reason for him to really project him for more. And yeah, I mean, he's playing well again this season. The main concern continues to be his free throws. But if you're in a points league, you really only care about that because it's costing you like points. You don't really care that the percentage is bad. I don't really know what he's going to do to fix that. I've been watching Giannis his whole career.
I actually just read a story today. I forgot who posted it. He tried a new tactic this offseason, which was every free throw he made his girlfriend run in lieu of him to kind of motivate him. And I thought that was hilarious because she'd be like, they said that she was running with holding their kid, like doing runs for every free throw he missed, and it didn't help.
I've never heard a story of someone trying as hard as Giannis to be good at something and getting worse at it.
Yep.
Like it's really depressing actually, because stories have been coming out like over the past 3 years. People, Giannis will have like a really bad free throw shooting game, and then some reporter will tweet like, "Oh, Giannis, he's after the game, he's out on the court shooting free throws." I'm like, yeah, does it matter anymore? Like, is he just wasting his time at this point? But yeah, the main thing I'll say is like Drew Holiday there and Chris Middleton there. A lot of times at the end of these games, it's Chris Middleton who has the ball in his hands because he's a harder player to guard theoretically, like just from a perspective of you don't know where he's going to shoot it from. He can shoot it from 3. He might pop mid-range. He can post up. Middleton's the Bucks' true closer. And Drew Holiday is good with the ball as well. I don't really expect Giannis' points per game or assists really to go down, but I think that's just one thing to note.
And to kind of touch on his free throw percentage in a close game, like, yeah, it makes sense to have the ball in Middleton's hands because he's a better free throw free throw maker. So yeah, agree with you there.
All right. Anything else? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Okay. Let's move on. KD sitting in right after Giannis at number 7, I believe. I think we're on 7 now, right? Same analysis as Harden, man. I like KD a lot. I think he's one of the best. He's now sharing it with two of the players that I see dribble the most just from the eye test. I mean, yeah, he's going to eat. Yeah, he's going to get you 70 points some games, and other games I think he's going to get you 25. I think that's just where we're at with all of the Nets. And he is going to sit on some back-to-backs just because of the Achilles injury he's coming off of. But, I mean, he is one player that is playing better than I thought he would. I thought there would be a little bit of regression maybe, or just maybe less minutes, but no, he's still playing 35 minutes a game, getting 30 points. That's his biggest stat that you're kind of looking at, shooting 48% from the 3, attempting 6 per game. He's on fire. He's great. I still think he's going to take a step back though.
He's actually playing better than he was at Golden State.
Surprisingly. Well, not really surprisingly because Kyrie decides to miss half the games. Harden played 1 game, And who else is really going to step up like that? I mean, LeVert was good, but he's no Steph Curry. So KD kind of had to put the team on his back a little bit.
Yeah, KD is a legitimate MVP candidate this year. Someone whose efficiency is crazy. His minutes per game is up big time. But you're right. I think, if you're in a points league, the fact that these guys could end up being more efficient by playing together does not matter. There's a good chance that minutes are going to go down. There's a good chance Durant's shot attempts are going to go down. Assists could go up. There is a chance of that because they're swinging the ball more. He doesn't have to shoot as much. But yeah, I think Durant is a guy who you figure maybe he's kind of like already tapped out his ceiling for the year. And he could, there'll probably be a lot of nights where he's going to start getting you 40 fantasy points when, like, prior to the trade, his floor was closer to 45.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else, Johnny?
Not really, other than, just Harden being in the picture now. Definitely going to take a hit. Sitting at 30 points per game, where his career average, or his average at Golden State was about 26. Rebounds and assists are about the same. And so him sharing the court with guys like Clay and Steph, like they're more kind of off the ball players, but playing with ball dominant players like Harden and Kyrie, shot attempts are going to go down, points will go down. So I can see him kind of slipping out of the top 10. He's definitely not going to get you that first round value that you were hoping for when you drafted him.
I agree. Let's move on. Number 8, and I think personally our biggest faller, someone who I think is going to fall the hardest, and it's not even going to be close. Andre Drummond. Right now he's playing 32 minutes per game, getting you almost 20 points, almost 16 rebounds, almost 3 assists. He's shooting 47.5 field goal. Obviously, he has a 0% field goal 3-point percentage, but do we expect anything else? Jared Allen is in the picture. If I'm the Cavs, I'm either sitting Andre and having Jared Allen cut into his role a lot, or trading him. And I really do think he might get traded. And here's why. Jared Allen is a restricted free agent, so they can match any offer he gets. They can offer him the most years. Why would they not? I mean, Andre Drummond is going to be an unrestricted free agent. He's going to want a payday. He's made that clear that he wants a payday. And if we're being honest, I think Jared Allen has more potential to be what Andre Drummond is and more. What do you guys think?
I mean, how many do you think it's unrealistic that they're going to possibly maybe split the center minutes just between the two of them?
Sure, they might, but I mean, even if they split it, he's not going to be getting 32 minutes per game. It's just not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, probably 24.
And Kevin Love's coming back pretty soon. That's another big man to feed. I mean, they like to play small ball, sometimes put him at center. It's just, and then they got Taurean Prince too, who's a power forward. I think that Andre Drummond's going to lose a lot of minutes after this trade.
Got a lot of big men on that team.
Yeah, we saw it last season when he and Tristan Thompson were both on the team. Drummond, when he got traded from the Pistons to the Cavs, Drummond ended up playing 28 minutes a game. And Tristan Thompson obviously was about 20. I mean, Drummond still put up good numbers. I'm not going to say he was still a scrub in those minutes because he still averaged 18 and 11 in 28 minutes. So, if you have Drummond on your team, this sucks a lot. And I know because I have him on one of my fantasy teams, and this sucks. And I tried to trade him, and it didn't work before this happened. So, yeah, you have to be concerned that Drummond's going to trend closer. I think, like you guys mentioned, at 24 minutes a game. They have to prioritize Jared Allen. The thing is, if you have Drummond on your team, no one is trading for him. I don't think you can't really get rid of Drummond at this point unless you're taking a really huge, you're getting like 50 cents on the dollar back. And I think you just right now you have to hold and hope that he gets traded somewhere where he's going to play 33 minutes a game again. That he gets traded to somewhere that they need a center and they'll play Drummond 30 minutes. That's probably your only hope if you have him in fantasy.
So question for you, Alex. I'm just going to pull a random guy who's underperforming from what I thought he would do. Would you trade Andre Drummond for Kelly Oubre?
No.
So you're in hard hold because I can't imagine you get much more than that at this point.
No, I mean, even if you think, I mean, Drummond is, I mean, he's like 1.5, close to 2 fantasy points per minute. So even if you're getting 24 minutes out of him, you could probably still get 35 to 40 fantasy points out of Andre Drummond. And I'm not really sure Kelly Oubre gets up to 35 to 40 fantasy points, even if he starts playing 35 minutes a game. It'd be close. But again, you would need Oubre to play 35 minutes.
Yeah, that might be a ceiling.
Right. Yeah. So I think the fantasy point per minute production out of Drummond is still so high that you want. I wouldn't do it for Oubre is what I'm trying to say.
I like it. Fingers crossed he gets traded, especially if you're an Andre Drummond owner. All right, let's move on to the next big man, number 9, Joel Embiid. Go ahead, Johnny.
Man, such a beast this year. He had one of his career games the other day, 82 fantasy points in standard points leagues. Absolutely insane. And I think he can keep it up too. I mean, Ben Simmons isn't playing to his standards. Tobias Harris is streaky at times. So Embiid is kind of like the rock of this team. He has a very high floor. Like walking 25-10, and maybe doesn't play as that many minutes now that Dwight Howard's in the picture, but I think he's definitely stay in the top 10 in my opinion.
Yeah, Embiid is obviously an incredible player, someone who is always in contention for, MVP, like early in the season, like someone that is just going to be in the top 10 in terms of betting odds, someone who's going to be in the probably top 5 in terms of betting odds and defensive player of the year. He's one of the best centers in the NBA. And yeah, I think what he's doing right now is, I mean, his percentages are all up across the board, which I think is my first red flag. He's shooting 54% from the field. Before this, he never shot better than 48% from the field, and he's shooting 40% from 3 after never shooting better than 37. And I know he's shooting better on really well in long mid-rangers too. But again, like it's Joel Embiid. He's going to get you 25 and 11 and, a steal and a block and a couple of assists like every night. That's his floor as a player. And the concern with Embiid is always, will he stay healthy? And so far, he's mostly been healthy. And I know he's out the next 2 games, or he was out last game and I think the next game with a knee injury or just soreness. And that's the main concern with Embiid. But other than that, he's going to be awesome for you.
I agree. I don't see him moving down. I could see him maybe moving up. But I think he's kind of producing what he's going to produce the rest of the season. I mean, like you said, he is shooting pretty high 3-point, but I mean, at this point, maybe he just kind of is hitting his prime a little bit. I mean, he's 26 now. This could just be an improvement year. I don't think he drops too much if he does drop. I mean, I could see what you're saying, where he does drop a little bit statistically, but I think he's kind of giving you what you're going to get with Embiid.
I think with all these other guys in the top 10 dropping statistically, like Harden and KD, I can see him. And I think Embiid drops statistically because he's shooting so well. But I think he can keep himself right there in the top 10 for sure.
All right, let's move on to Russell Westbrook, who is sitting at number 10. Then we'll take a quick little break. So Russell Westbrook is getting 37 minutes per game in the games that he plays. He's in those games, he's getting 19 points, almost 10 rebounds, 11 assists, a steal per game, 5 turnovers, shooting on 38% and 30% from 3. In a points league, I think he's going to go up, actually. And this might be kind of a hot take because 37 minutes per game, I don't know if that's sustainable, but I could see him putting up more points. I mean, Bradley Beal is getting frustrated. He's carrying the team, and I don't know. 19 just seems a little bit low for me for Russell Westbrook. I mean, let's look back at the past 4 years. He averaged 27 points, 22 points, 25 points, 31 points. I think he can bring the points up, and in a points league, that's important. And
Not to
yeah, I
mention his
mean,
field goal percentage has been the worst it's been for in a while.
I'm not sure that that's going to go up though. He's a pretty inefficient scorer. So if you're hurt by that, yeah, he's probably going to go down. But if you're in a points league where it doesn't matter what his field goal percentage is, I think he's going to go up.
Yeah, his 2-point percentage is 40 right now, which would be basically his worst mark of his career, and pretty close to what he shot during his rookie year. That'll all go up. His free throw percentage is pretty low, although it's been low. Like 2 years ago, he shot 65%, which is where he's at right now. For me, the main concern. So I have two things. Like, the main concern for Westbrook right now is the lower body injuries just keep piling up for him as a guy who's made his living as an explosive athlete. And when that happens, it becomes really difficult for guys to change their game, especially when they're not good 3-point shooters. And so that's the main concern. On the other hand, if the Wizards suck this much still throughout the year, and Bradley Beal has had it and wants out, or wants a different situation, I don't think the Wizards are going to be able to really trade Russell Westbrook when he's playing this bad. So they would probably end up trading Bradley Beal, getting a bunch of young players back, etc. And that would basically, Westbrook would have complete control of the offense at that point. Would not have to worry about Bradley Beal getting shot attempts. So his volume could go up if Beal gets traded. You should never bank on someone getting traded necessarily, but that's some hope for fantasy owners, where his percentages could go up and his role could go up.
I'm just going to mention he very well could get traded, but he has been the center of trade talks for like 4 years or 5 years now. I remember back in the day when I was really hoping they would trade Andre Drummond for Bradley Beal, back when Drummond was like, I don't know, this was like probably like 3 years ago. And there was actually rumors it happened, and Stan Van Gundy, the owner, kind of jinxed it. But I don't know. I just think that don't bank on it. The Wizards seem to love Bradley Beal. Every team every year is offering crazy packages, and they haven't jumped on it yet. I mean, maybe they're finally getting a little frustrated, but I wouldn't bank on it. I would just say that, I would just think that the only way he's going to get better, Russell Westbrook, that is if he can get those points up, and if he can just start shooting a little bit better, or if Beal gets hurt or traded. But I wouldn't bank on that, is what I think.
You're gonna have to pay a lot for Beal, and Westbrook's up there in age, so
and with his contract, Russell Westbrook is not getting traded.
Nobody wants that burden.
All right, so let's take a quick break, and then we'll hop right back in. What's up, guys? So we just want to talk today about one of our friends' companies. I mean, it's super great. We like beer. We drink it a lot. We named our show after it. So we try to stay healthy, and one of the best ways to do it is dose. Dose for your liver. It helps your liver. I mean, that's what our beer is hurting. It damages your liver. It's just proven. I mean, that's alcohol, that's beer, that's everything. And, we don't want to promote people drinking because it can cause bad things. But if you're going to do it, be safe. I mean, that's where dose comes in, it helps your liver.
Helps with hangovers as well.
Yeah, and it's delicious. Helps with floating. It's got it's no calories, and it just has some great ingredients in it for you. I mean, obviously make sure you're not allergic or anything, but go check them out. And again, this is not a paid sponsorship. This is just us promoting something that we believe in. We tried it. As you can see, we bought a bunch of it, and
something we highly recommend.
Yeah, and we got to know the owner a little bit, and it's a great company. They're great people, great product, tastes delicious, and we just want to give them a big shout out and promote healthiness while we're also promoting drinking, right? Hey, well, we'll go into the next segment. Yeah,
back to it.
Thank you. And welcome back, guys. So we left off at where did we leave off? We left off at Russell Westbrook, top 10. We got through the top 10. Sweet. So number 11, Kyrie Irving. I have the same analysis as I do KD and Harden. So if you guys have anything else to say, go for it.
Yeah, I don't.
He's going to take a fewer shots. I mean, I think if anyone on this team ends up with fewer shots, it's Kyrie. That's just how I feel about it because I think he's the worst of the three players.
Less rebounds, fewer shots. Yeah.
So in case anyone has Kyrie and is worried, give a quick little analysis. He's getting 33 minutes per game with 27 points, 6 assists, 1.6 steals per game, shooting 50%, shooting 43 from the three. I think all of those things are going down except for maybe the assists. Minutes, he's not going to be getting 33 minutes. I mean, he could be getting 33 minutes a game, but he's not getting you 27 points per game on a nightly basis with KD and Harden in town. So,
agreed.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Got Sabonis at 13, guy that Johnny was pretty high on.
My favorite player right now.
I'm sorry, we skipped number 12. I am so sorry. We skipped number 12, Kawhi Leonard. Sorry about that. But I'll let you go, Johnny. You can tell me about Kawhi.
Oh, yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, why don't you go back to that different browser you had open?
Yeah, it will do. Kawhi Leonard, 34 minutes a game, 25 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. You know, his rebounding has gone down since last year. However, his assists have gone up. He's getting you steals, about 2 steals a game. I think he's sitting at right where he should be. I don't think there's no reason why he wouldn't take a hit. However, I think he maybe could go up since Paul George is kind of playing out of his mind, and I think we see a little regression there. That was my analysis on Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I think Kawhi, I mean, he's playing more minutes than he has recently on a consistent basis. You know, last year they were still kind of worried about that knee issue of his that's been persistent, and he played a back-to-back, I think, this season for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, that's huge.
You love to see like his workload is higher than it was before. He's passing better. Kawhi's Kawhi. Like I don't have a ton of analysis here just because we know exactly the player that he is. He's not going to change drastically. He's not putting up numbers that are unsustainable. He's shooting a little better from 3 than I would guess, but that's really about it.
I do want to mention he is playing the same amount of minutes he was playing in Toronto on their championship season. Points have dropped a little bit from the past 2 seasons. It's dropped from 27 to 25, and last season he was playing about 32 minutes a game, and he was getting 27 points, and now he's at almost 35, getting 25 points. That could play into what Johnny said with pandemic P playing a little bit better than playoff P.
Hey, this is regular season P.
Yeah, so not the playoffs yet. So Paul George is still good. I could see his points going back up a little bit. I think he's hovering right around where he'll be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, we have Johnny. Who do we have?
Your boy from Gonzaga, walking double-double, Domantas Sabonis. Super high on him in the preseason, and he is doing just Sabonis things right now. His assist numbers are up from last year. Points per game. They're up from last year. His 3-point percentage is decent for a big man. And yeah, I think he can continue to produce, especially with Karis LeVert with an unknown timetable to return. It's literally going to be Sabonis and Brogdon. That is their offense. Pick and rolls all day. What do you guys think?
Yeah, 100%. LeVert, we should mention, during an MRI, they found a mass on his kidney. So we really have no idea when he'll be back. He needs more tests. You need to figure out all sorts of, I mean, it's a serious medical issue, obviously. Like, they have no idea if he'll even play this season. But you're right. Yeah, it's just going to be Brogdon and Sabonis eating up all the usage on the Pacers. Main thing with Sabonis right now is he's replaced his long mid-range jumpers with threes, and he's shooting well enough on them. He's dominant in the post. You can run your offense through him. Again, with this LeVert situation, Sabonis could actually see his usage go up a little bit. I wouldn't say a ton, but it's not going to go lower for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys kind of killed it. TJ Warren had a stress fracture and he underwent successful surgery. Not sure when he'll be back. I don't even think there's a timetable yet. So, yeah, right now it's the Brogdon Sabonis show. Um, I like him. Wish I had him. Picked Beal over him. Was happy I did, but still, it's not take anything away from Sabonis. Um, let's go next to I'm kind of shocked he's even this high as LeBron James. Um, I was really low on LeBron James. This is his vacation time. I'm sure he's not happy he's playing. I know he was one of the main guys who was trying to get them to not play this early. Needed that vacation after winning the finals, but yet here he comes, the 36-year-old best player in the league right now, getting you 32 minutes per game, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, getting you almost a steal a game, shooting 48%. From the three, he's shooting 38%. I mean, what is there to say? He's playing the lowest minutes that he's ever played, pretty much ever. Actually, literally ever.
Yeah.
But this is the same analysis I have for Giannis. I mean, why does he need to play the minutes? I mean, you have AD, you're blowing out every team. He's just chilling in the fourth quarter on the bench, just having a good time, laughing. Doesn't need to put the Cavs on his back like he did for half his career. Great player, doesn't play the minutes that he was. Yeah, I don't really have much more than that.
I mean, what was their off season, like 2-3 months? And when you have a pretty versatile team like Schroeder, Kuzma's been playing decently well. LeBron just doesn't have to do much. I think you nailed it right
Yeah.
on the nail.
He had that 2 months Cabo time. Not enough though.
Not enough.
No. Anything, Alex?
Not really. He's just coasting as much as ever. And LeBron can put up 25, 8, and 8 while completely coasting and taking mid-rangers and letting Schroeder and Harrell do a lot of the work. So he and Anthony Davis both actually are basically just coasting this year, and the Lakers are still winning games.
Yeah, I mean, when they're in close games, he will put up the minutes, though. I mean, when they had that series against San Antonio, he put 35 in each because San Antonio surprisingly kept up. But the problem is finding teams that are going to keep up with the Lakers this season. Let's move on, I think. Next up, we have, I think it's Vucevic.
Nikola Vucevic.
Vucevic.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of having a quietly good season. You don't really hear people talking about him much, but he's kind of slipping himself there in the top 20. Almost 20 points per game, 10 boards, 3.5 assists. Good beyond the arc for a big man. Good field goal percentage. He's just a solid player on a Magic team that doesn't have a ton of offense.
Yeah, Vucevic is a really high floor player. He's 20 and 10 pretty much. Gets his few assists, hits his threes. We've known who Vucevic is for the past half decade, and he's expanded his game a little bit, but he's just one of the best, most consistent. He's one of the most consistent fantasy centers out there over the past 5 years.
Yeah. Only reason I could see him going down is if Mo Bamba gets a little healthier, plays some more minutes. I mean, he hasn't really. I mean, he was out the first 6 games of the season, came back, put up 4 games with 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 13 minutes, and 11 minutes. So if Mo Bamba can come back and get healthy, maybe he cuts into some Vucevic time. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I have no concerns with him. I think he's just, like you guys said, a good, solid player. All right. Let's move on. Next up, we have Steph Curry. I'll take the lead on this guy. I think some of you have heard of him before, maybe. I think he's gonna shoot up. I think he's too low for what he is doing, and how many minutes he's playing. He is. I mean, is it safe to say he's the best point guard in the league still? I mean, he's putting up 35 minutes, 28 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, all this on 3 turnovers, shooting 44 or 45 from the field, 38 from the 3-point percentage, and they literally need him. This is the first time in Steph Curry's career that they've needed him. He's playing the fourth quarters. He's trying to get some wins for his team. I just think it's going to go up. I think he's just getting acclimated without Clay and without the team they thought they were going to have. So I think they're going to get in a groove. And I mean, they've been winning a decent amount of games. They've been pretty good, or at least better than I thought they would be once we found out Clay was not here. So, yeah.
Yeah, getting Draymond back has been big for their team and just in terms of winning games. And I think helping get more open shots to Steph and everything like that. But I think you're right in terms of Curry could definitely see his numbers increase. He's launching up a ton of shots. His percentage isn't as high as it's been in recent years. At the same time, you're asking a lot out of a 32-year-old, relatively small point guard who has like a few seasons worth of playoffs on his like body from playing all those like straight consecutive, playoffs, basically going to the finals every year for like 4 years. But yeah, I mean, he's got an insane usage rate, everything like that, everything like you mentioned. He's not going to. I don't think his fantasy points are going to decrease. So if you have him, he's sitting at 16th right now, like we mentioned, 45 fantasy points a game. I think that has room to go up.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to need those role players like Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins going to step up if they're going to keep games competitive. And Curry's going to get the minutes, and you can definitely see his assist numbers going up if Kelly Oubre can make a shot. But yeah, I think there's definitely room to go up there.
Yeah, and to your point of he's getting a little old, honestly, with where we're at in technology advances and just kind of learning about health and medicine, I don't think 32 is terribly old for someone as talented as him. I mean, let's look at CP3, let's look at LeBron. I think he's up there in that tier of talent. So I think I think he'll be doing this until he's like 34, 35. Just my guess, though. So we'll see. Maybe age will take a toll on him. Maybe he'll get injured. We'll see. Next up, we have Dame, my guy Dame. Yeah, Alex, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, Lillard has been playing well this season. Started off a little slow, if I remember correctly, but he's got his percentages back up. McCollum has been taking a lot of the offensive workload, which I think has reduced a little bit of Lillard's, usage rate. But with Yusuf Nurkic out now, I'm not really sure what their team is going to, like, how they're going to produce. I mean, I think they're going to go up and down the court more because as Cantor is such a bad defender, they're just going to have to try to win every game by a shootout. Main thing for me is, I think Lillard has established himself as about as close to a player as Steph Curry that is out there. And I don't think that's going to change here.
I do want to mention CJ had a sprained foot or a sprained knee or something. So I think for these next couple of games, Dame is going to take off. I think until CJ comes back, it's the Dame show. I think Dame will be a top 5 fantasy option until McCollum's back. And then it'll probably go back to similar than what it is. I mean, I still think just like Curry, Dame has room to grow. So, I mean, I projected him to be a top 10 fantasy option this season, just from last season and everything. And right now, I mean, sitting tied for 17th with Julius Randle. I think he has room to grow, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think he can get there. Just CJ is just playing unreal right now. Yeah. But yeah, missing those games is going to help. Or CJ missing those games is going to help Lillard in the short term.
All right. Well, I just mentioned who's next, and that is Julius Randle. One of you guys want to take over?
Randle's like a top 2, top 3 candidate for most improved player right now. Just completely taken control to some extent of the Knicks offense.
Real quick, can we just give the Knicks most improved player? Like, can we just give them that award? Like the whole team.
Most improved team.
just change it from player to team because I did not see this coming.
Tom Thibodeau, coach of the year.
Yeah.
Randle. I think to some extent we've always kind of known that Randle, or we hoped / known that Randle has this ability in him in terms of someone who can handle the ball a little bit. Like his assist numbers have always been good. He's been a solid shooter, but I didn't think it would happen like this. And I don't think I don't really expect much to change here because the Knicks have found, relative success. They're 5-8, but compared to what we thought they would do, and I don't really think anyone's coming to take his usage.
You think he's gonna? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you mean getting rid of the 10 power forwards on their team helped? That's weird.
Turns out, yeah.
Play your best players. Do you think he's going to continue seeing 38 minutes a game going forward?
Yeah.
They're going to need him to.
Yeah.
What about when Obi Toppin comes back? You don't think that'll cut in a little bit?
Obi Toppin's back.
Yeah, he played last game.
Did he play? Oh,
yeah.
Shoot, I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay, what about when he's back? Yeah, like what about when he's like healthy and
not limited?
They're trying to give him a little bit more of a role.
He played. Toppin played 20. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I don't know because I'm trying to figure out where they're playing Toppin. I'm trying to do this basketball reference very quick in terms of what position they're playing him at. Yeah, power forward mostly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Randle's still going to see 30. It's hard for me to imagine him dipping below like 32 or 33.
I mean, let's look at this. The last 3 games for Obi Toppin were 0 minutes, 9 minutes, 16 minutes. So it's growing. And where is it going to kind of top off at? I don't think we know. And maybe there is room for Julius Randle and Obi Toppin on the court at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Toppin can. They both are kind of combo forwards to some extent. Randle can even play center if you need him to.
Yeah.
So I think they want to. I think Tom Thibodeau is prioritizing winning. So whoever's playing well is going to be on the court for as long as they can handle it. So if Toppin starts playing well, I'm sure he'll be out there because Reggie Bullock is still eating a lot of minutes. It's possible Obi Toppin just takes a ton of like Reggie Bullock and Nerlens Noel minutes essentially.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think it really depends on if he's going to play well. I don't think Tom Thibodeau's like really in for like letting a guy work through his issues for 29 minutes a game. I think that's like here's your 12 minutes. If you don't suck, maybe we'll give you 14 next game.
Fair. Okay. Let's move on. Jayson Tatum. He's up next at 19. Johnny, you want to give me your thoughts?
Yeah, Jayson Tatum, playing very well. Unfortunately, I think he tested positive for COVID recently. So I'll take a hit to his overall fantasy value or end of season. But yeah, no, the beginning of the season, it's been him and Jaylen Brown running the offense. I think he'll take a small hit with Kemba back. So I can see him probably hitting around that top 25, top 30 range. But it'd be interesting to see what Kemba's usage will actually be and how that'll eat into Tatum's usage. So great player though. Like, don't get me wrong.
So I'm going to take the devil's advocate approach. And I think I agree with you. I think Kemba will hurt Jayson Tatum a little, but it's also possible Kemba comes back and they finally have a great distributor. Maybe it kind of keeps his points pretty level. Maybe I don't think Kemba's going to hurt his rebounds at all. The past 3 games, he's only gotten 2, 4, and 2 assists. He had one game where he had 12. Sure, I don't think that's going to happen again. But other than that, I don't think anything that he's doing Kemba is really going to affect. And if anything, maybe it'll help him by getting him some more open shots and easy looks.
Yeah, I think the main thing right now when you look at Tatum's kind of shot profile is he like rarely gets to the rim. He's being fouled on his shots half as much as he was last year, and he's getting to the rim like 7% less. He's just taking a lot of long mid-rangers. He's hitting them well, so kudos. But I think, I'm not super concerned about Kemba coming back because I think it will possibly open up more. It will distract defenses, right? Defenses can't just focus all of their energy on stopping Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And so, Jayson Tatum's an incredible player. He looks like he's going to be in the mold of a Paul George or in the mold of Kawhi Leonard. And I don't think Kemba coming back is going to really stop that progress from happening.
I think I agree with that.
So you say he goes up from here or about same range?
I think about the same. He's 44 fantasy points right now. I would be surprised if he's under 40, fantasy points per game by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think he's going to hang around. This next guy, I am freaking huge on. I think he's going to rise. I think that I'm probably way too high on him. Christian Wood. Harden's out of town. That means the ball is going to be in John Wall's hands. John Wall is a flashy passer. Christian Wood's the big guy, and I think that Christian Wood is going to dominate. Since Harden's left, 34 minutes, 40 minutes. He just played 40 minutes against San Antonio. He got 18 rebounds. I think the rebounding is going to go through the roof. I think he's going to rise. I think right now, he's fantasy points sitting at 44 a game. I think it's going to go up. I think he's going to be getting you around 50. Pull me down for my cloud, Alex.
I won't. I love Christian Wood. I loved him when he was briefly on the Bucks. I've been keeping an eye on Christian Wood since he was G League MVP. So I was always like, why isn't this guy in the league? He's clearly good. And now he's putting up the same numbers in the NBA that he was in the G League when he won MVP there. Extremely versatile offensive player. I think the main thing is he's gotten more comfortable in transition, and he's gotten more comfortable doing things that just aren't post-ups and threes. He's got a pretty good Euro step, extremely long player. I remember him saying something about learning a lot from Giannis. So I think, again, Oladipo there, that's, John Wall hasn't played the past couple games. Eric Gordon's been out. Oladipo hasn't been there. But even when those guys are there, it's hard for me to imagine Christian Wood, again, not averaging 20 and 10 and possibly more than that. He's just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. He's definitely, I would say, one of the best steals in the draft because his ADP was so high. It was maybe in the 70s. And now top 25 player, top 20.
I just did a trade in my league. Johnny wasn't a fan because he thinks I robbed a man. But it was pretty much, and we talked about it a little bit in the last video, but it was centered around I gave up Harden and I got Wood and Chris Paul.
And one more. It was another one.
Oh, and okay. So let's see. The trade was Harden, Draymond, and Bagley for Christian Wood, CP3, and Jamal Murray. I think I absolutely robbed this man. But that being said, he's a guy I think you can go get in your league. Not a lot of people have heard of this guy. If they're just casual fans, they're like Christian Wood. I don't know. I think he's one of those guys you should buy low on, and low is not even that low anymore.
They're gonna think they're selling high, but
maybe
no.
Yeah. What do you think, Alex? Think you should buy low on Christian Wood? Buy low.
I don't think you can buy if you're playing with people who know who Christian Wood is, there's no chance. But
yeah, exactly.
You're right. I think if we're taking your trade, for example, you won that trade. Draymond and Bagley are guys who are even if you're in a 10-team fantasy league, those guys are borderline, should maybe not even be on your team.
I should mention this was a 12-man points league.
Right. Yeah. Those guys you would be just as, and so this is maybe fantasy strategy, but if someone's averaging about 25 fantasy points a game, you're just as good cycling through the waiver wire every week, finding guys who play 4 or 5 games a week to get you those points. Now, depending on your format, if you start one game or multiple games, but if you're in a traditional weekly points league, you're better off just streaming the spot and just picking up someone off of waivers every week. Yeah,
I agree. Sorry again for that trade, Johnny. Let's move on.
It's all right. We didn't get a chance to veto it, but I'm not hurt or anything. Yeah. I'll still win.
We play each other next week. We'll see. Next up, Anthony Davis. Go ahead, one of you guys.
I think same situation as LeBron. He's only playing 32 minutes a game, his lowest in his career, except for maybe his rookie season.
Yeah, but his rookie season he played 29, but other than that, that's his lowest.
So they just don't need him. He's not putting up the big numbers like last year, and he's just kind of coasting just like LeBron is until till playoffs.
That is 100% the case. You look at LeBron and AD's numbers and kind of where their shots are coming from, and they're shooting a lot less at the rim. They're taking a lot more jumpers. They're not getting fouled. Like, they are just like old guys at the gym, just like shooting mid-rangers. Like, I'm not running. I'm not getting to the rim. I'm not getting hit. None of that. I'm gonna let the young players just. I'm gonna let Montrezl Harrell get his cardio workout in, just running up and down the court full speed doing sprints, and I'm just gonna hang back and shoot some 18-footers whenever I touch the ball. So
hey man, they're partying on the court. Let them have it. They should be in Cabo right now. They thought they were going to be.
I don't blame them for doing this. Your team is stacked. You just won the title. It makes a lot of sense what's happening.
Take a year off, and I mean his 3-point percentage has been the best in his career right now. So you hit that,
right.
Nailed it.
I don't think we need to say much more. Brogdon, tell me about Brogdon.
Man, I was so mad when the Bucks got rid of Brogdon. I know that. So the main thing with Brogdon is that he has really bad medicals. When he was coming out of the draft, the reason he slipped was because he has serious medical concerns, I think, with his feet, and he's already missed time in his career with those issues. Once, like last season, he missed some time with the Bucks. He missed some time. This season, I love Brogdon. He's playing well. He's playing as well as I think Malcolm Brogdon can play. I think these numbers are mostly real. He is that good. If you have him in your fantasy league, again, I wouldn't be afraid to sell high on him, because a guy with terrible medical history in his feet playing 38 minutes a game or whatever it is worrying in the condensed schedule. I'm not saying you have to trade him. I'm just saying keep that in mind. Essentially,
I actually sent a trade to a guy in our league, Malcolm Brogdon, for Ja Morant, and hasn't responded yet. But I felt like that was decent.
I think I'd rather have Brogdon in that situation. I don't know.
It's close.
Well, I mean, here's my reason why. You just get rid of Oladipo. Now you have LeVert coming in, and LeVert has a mass on his kidney, which is awful. But like, you just lost a huge piece of your offense. That, I think a lot of those stats are gonna go right to Brogdon for a while.
Yeah.
The thing with Morant is his usage rate is out of control right now. 35% usage rate. Obviously, he just came back from a ankle sprain, but right now his usage rate and like efficiency numbers are in line with someone who could pretty much win MVP. Like, if you just stop the season right now, typically that's someone who sees 30 to 35% usage and has like a 55% true shooting mark. Those are the guys who win MVP, and that's what he's at right now. And the Grizzlies are not that good. I predicted that they might be one of the worst teams in the Western Conference before the year. They've looked a lot better than I thought they would. But yeah, I mean, Morant, I think that trade is fine. I think if you got Morant, he could end up averaging close to the same amount as Brogdon for sure.
Yeah, I guess my logic with it is I have both Brogdon and Sabonis, and so that's a lot of exposure to the Pacers right now.
That makes sense.
But
not bad Pacers to have though.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, he's playing very well.
All right, let's move on. Up next at 23, we have Zach Lavine. Great player. Last two games, getting 40-plus minutes per game, 45 points, 35 points. I mean, the dude is a star. The dude is an absolute star. I really wish I had him. He went first round in our league, which I thought was bananas, but now I guess I'm bananas. I mean, 28 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's doing all this on 50% from the field and 40% from the three. I think he's going to go up, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, the past couple of weeks, they've had a lot of players on the, I think, COVID list.
Mm-hmm.
So with those guys coming back, it'll take a little bit of a hit. But yeah, like you said, he's the star of this team.
I mean, he started slow. So even with those guys coming back, I think he's going to be fine. And still, I think it's just up from here with him.
Yeah, the Bulls have a coherent offense now with Billy Donovan coaching the team after they got rid of Jim Boylan, who, from what I hear, almost everybody in the organization, not just the players, hated Jim Boylan. So I think you're getting a lot more buy-in from Lavine and other players, and Lavine's been great, man. He's been a lot more kind of pick and choosy with his shots. He's shooting really well at the rim. Um, he just scores a ton, man. He's 30% usage. The guy is a star. One of the best transition guards in the NBA for sure.
He is good at basketball. Um, we have two more. Let's kind of speed through these guys. We got CJ McCollum, just got injured. Been on fire this season compared to what I thought he was going to be. He looks great. I mean, he's playing 34 minutes, 27 points per game with 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover. That's a really good, exciting stat. 47 from the field, 44 from the 3. I did not see this coming. I think right now he's a sell high for me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of shooting unreal right now. And the reason he's a sell high for me is because he's just very score independent. He only 4 boards, 5 assists, which is a little inflated, I feel like, but his points per game is 26 points per game, and that I think is a career best for him. So
only by 4 whole points.
Yeah, it's tough to say right now. It'd be hard to sell high on a guy who just sprained his foot. So that's always the concern,
true.
right? I'm with you. I think I included him in an article where I said he was a sell high. So congrats if you sold high and now he's hurt. And this is I think it's important to note with the injury, this is a foot he's broken twice before. Now he sprained it. So this is a recurring issue for him. But yeah, his shooting's been unsustainable. Still a really good player, right? But I think we should expect him to trend more towards 35 to 40 fantasy points and not 40 to 45 fantasy points.
I agree. And I think me and Johnny have been preaching that pretty much since, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. since he started off this hot, me and Johnny have been like, sell this man. We're Portland Trailblazers and we love him, but he's not going to keep this up. And now that he had this injury, like you said, it's going to be tough. Last guy, tied for 24th with McCollum is Jaylen Brown. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, with Kemba coming back, we kind of talked about this with Tatum, but I think Brown is more likely to take a hit than Tatum. And Brown also has been shooting like lights out from, the mid-range with just numbers that don't even make sense in terms of like 65%. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but shooting unsustainably well. He's still a really good player, and he could certainly make All-NBA. But yeah, I would say he's probably a sell high or someone who I could see his numbers going down just because of the percentages that are relatively unsustainable.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think he's more of a sell high. Well, I think you can get more right now than you could from McCollum, but I also think he's a huge sell high. If I had Brown, I would be trying to move him pretty much ASAP because I do think, unlike Tatum, Kemba is going to cut into what Brown is doing a little bit.
Who are some guys you would try to target with Brown?
Christian Wood immediately. I would go and try to get Christian Wood I would offer Brown, and if that wasn't enough, maybe add a second piece. Brogdon, I probably would try to go get Brogdon over Brown. And looking behind him, I don't know, maybe even Paul George. Hot take, I might even do it for Jeremy Grant the way he's been playing. I mean, Jeremy Grant has been freaking unreal this season.
That's another steal in the draft.
Yeah, that's a huge steal. I tried my best not to draft Pistons because I have a tendency, I'm a huge Pistons fan, so I have a tendency to be biased and draft all the Pistons in my fantasy basketball league. So I tried not to do that. So I did avoid Grant, and now I'm kicking myself.
But you did avoid
I am happy I avoided. Yeah, I am happy I avoided Blake Griffin though. I did sucker into Killian Hayes, so that didn't help.
Yeah, I think if you can trade Brown for like even Trae Young, who's 31st on this list, like do that. I found the numbers. Jaylen Brown shooting 61% on long mid-range jumpers on 41 attempts. Like that's not real. Last season he shot
No.
43%.
I mean, let me go down this list. I would trade Jaylen Brown for SGA. I would trade him for Ben Simmons. I would consider it for Van Fleet. I would consider it for Butler. Like, I would trade this guy if I could, if I had him. But that's just me. I am biased. I mean, not biased, but this is just my take. He could keep it up. I mean, Kemba coming back couldn't maybe not even phase him. But that's where I'm at. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. We are pretty much out of time here. And Alex, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we'll have you again soon. Our plan is to have you as often as we can. So
Yeah, no problem. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks guys.